Joining us now is Democratic Congresswoman Katherine Clark. She is the vice chair of the House Democratic Caucus, and one of those so-called sanctuary cities is in your district. Congresswoman, thank you very much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Allison. Good to be with you.
Let me read you a portion of what the Washington Post is reporting. CNN has some of its own original reporting on this as well. White House officials first broached this plan in a November 16th email asking officials at several agencies whether members of the caravan could be arrested at the border and then bused to small and mid-sized sanctuary cities. The White House told ICE that the plan was intended to alleviate a shortage of detention space, but also served to send a message to Democrats. So, Congresswoman, I believe that Cambridge, Massachusetts, is one of the so-called sanctuary cities in your district. What is your response to that plan?
Well, just when you think Donald Trump's immigration policies couldn't get more outrageous, he outdoes himself. This is using people who are coming to this country seeking refuge, seeking asylum, some crazy plan to try and put them into sanctuary cities. Donald Trump needs to focus on the humanitarian crisis that he has caused on our border and to use the money that Congress has appropriated to increase the number of judges, to protect our ports, to be able to put the programs back in that can help reduce the detention center beds and actually process and make sure these asylum claims are valid, and if they are, that people are allowed into the United States. Seeking refuge here is not illegal immigration, and it is long past time the Trump administration understand that.
But you know, I mean, it's not just President Trump. You know that so many of the people who voted for him are frustrated by the idea of sanctuary cities. They don't like the idea that these particular cities, San Francisco, Cambridge, Massachusetts, won't help ICE officials deport people once they're found there. And so, you know, I just want you to speak to that I think that the president is tapping into a feeling. And look, this is how he started his presidential campaign in 2016 by saying Mexico is sending its rapists, et cetera, et cetera. You know that his supporters chant, build the wall. And so what do you say to people who say, if the sanctuary cities won't detain and deport people, let them deal with this problem?
Sanctuary cities are directly correlated to a lack of comprehensive immigration reform. Nobody on either side of the aisle of any political ideology will tell you that our immigration system is working well. But that proposal that was passed over 5 years ago in a bipartisan way in the Senate still languishes. And what we've seen is a president that, as you just said, from his very first moments of announcing his candidacy, has gone to fear, division, racism, and called that up in the American people. It is time that he be the leader that we need and say, let's look at our system. Let's see how we can protect our national security and have an immigration system that makes sense and that allows people to immigrate into this country to fill some of the needs we have for workers, and that is really in line with our heritage and values as Americans, that we embrace immigrants and that we replenish ourselves with immigrants and what they bring to us. But this president is committed to doing the opposite, and you can see it from the absolute chaos that he has created in the Department of Homeland Security. That is a reflection of the chaos on the border.
I mean, you know that he says it's Congress's responsibility, that you guys are dropping the ball on fixing this.
When the only proposal coming out of this White House is to cage children and build a wall, there is no working with that. We need to go back and look at the money we have already appropriated for humanitarian aid to try and address the problem that we have at the border. And instead, this presidency and his administration is saying we're not interested in real solutions. What we're interested in is continuing to demonize migrants, continuing to demonize children. and families.
Yeah.
And instead of putting in protections, use these families as a political bludgeon. It's frankly against American values.
So, Congressman, I do want to ask you, because I know that you're looking forward to talking about it, that it's 100, today marks the 100 days of the Democrats taking back the House. And I just want to ask you about, there's so much attention paid to the new freshman and the progressives in particular in that new freshman class and some of their provocative statements. And are you frustrated that that sometimes eclipses any work or policy that you're all accomplishing?
We've got our eye on what the American people sent us here to do, and that is to make sure we protect their health care and expand quality care that is affordable to every American, that we rebuild and reinvest in our infrastructure, and that we clean up our politics, get dark money out, protect that right to vote. Those are the issues that we are not only working on, but passing. We have H.R. 1 waiting at the door of the Senate for Mitch McConnell to say, yes, we want to protect that right to vote. We've already passed the Paycheck Fairness Act, saying to women in this country, when you do equal work, you're going to be paid equally. That is $900 billion if we pay women equally back into our economy. We've already passed common sense gun violence prevention that is supported by close to 97% of Americans across political ideologies.
Yeah.
This is the work that we are doing. This is why we are proud to celebrate our accomplishments of the first 100 days and looking forward to the next 100.
Congresswoman Katherine Clark, thank you for dealing with all of these topics this morning with us. Nice to see you.